Hey David, how are you?
I'm very fine. Very happy to say hello to you. Welcome.
Same to you. How's everything?
Hey, no, very happy because we're doing this for the first time. I'm excited. I'm all, hoping that people join.
I
There
hope that they
are,
find helpful and well, at least some of them that understand what we are saying.
yeah, yes. No, hopefully, those who don't ask us later. No, what was it? What we said? Or
What's been said? Well,
yeah.
eventually they will find translation on YouTube because YouTube,
Hmm.
after you post a video, you will find a translation tool that will help you to understand what we are saying. So that shouldn't be an issue for them.
Totally, totally. Well, so hi to everyone connected already. Thanks to all of those who will see this later.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, that's
because
the idea. Some of them will see it right
yeah,
now, and some of them will see it later. So they can, I mean, if they are interested in, of course.
totally. I hope this is useful and interesting for everybody. But let's begin with who we are, what the hell we're doing here, what the purpose of all this is.
Yes, David, introduce yourself, who you are.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. My name is this is my first lesson, right? My name. I
Hello,
always start with
children.
hello. Yeah. Okay. My name now. You okay? My name is David, and it's really cool. I always say that. I always well, even when what I do is I speak English like the whole time because that's what I do a living of. I always say my name is David, and I'm very honored to be here today. In a nutshell, I'm an English teacher. Okay, I've been a lot of things. I'm 53. I live in cold, freezing Toluca,
Yeah, horrible.
and yeah, and I do a lot of stuff to make a living. One of those is enjoy things like this, speaking English, and uh, I'm a teacher. That's what I wanted to say. I'm a teacher. I love teaching. I love sharing, and I love helping other people go through the process that I went through and making it easier for everyone else. And that's me. What about you, Leo? Introduce
Well,
yourself.
I will tell you right now. My name is Leo. Now, my name is Leo. I'm 44 years old. I am an accountant. And well, this all started because David is giving me advanced English classes. So our talks are so interested that we decided to make it a podcast. So right now, well, I've been doing all my life accounting, but right now I am in that moment in my life that I'm changing the stuff that I want to do with my life. So I don't know what I would do in the future, near future, but right now I'm preparing myself to do a C2 certification with David, which he's a great teacher. If you need
Oh, thank
one,
you.
please contact him. He's a great guy also, and he's and all the chat that we've been having are so interesting that we wanted to share you with you. Hey David, I want to start with something that is well why we are doing this. We've been talking alone. I mean, we've been having these classes for over what 2 months,
Hmm.
and we've been talking a lot about education and how hard it is to actually find a good place where you can learn advanced English. And when you can make your English better, not only the English that a lot of institutes are teaching right now, like Interlingua, what English Individual, I don't know if it still exists or not,
Hmm.
but that there's a huge issue finding a place where you can learn uh, to make better your English. Just simple as that. What is going on? Explain to us a little bit.
Well, it is. Well, I don't want to sound uh, like you know, speaking um, bad about what I've been doing my whole life. I've been an English teacher for institutions like that, And something I know is that everybody has like a different style to learn. And sitting down in a classroom with, I don't know, 5 other people, 10 other people, 20 other, 30 other people is not going to work for everyone. And when you go to an institution and they tell you, you know what, in a year you'll be bilingual, well, this it doesn't necessarily have to be true, because you might or might not benefit from that one specific um, a way of teaching, learning. And there are a lot of other things that you have to do, and you most of the times you need some support, some guidance, some good tips. And that is the reason why we're here today, right?
Yeah,
Because we want to share our visions on education and learning and practicing, and maybe talk about some tips, maybe talk about what how it was for us in our learning process, because you and I were both non-native speakers of the English language, just like most of those people out there that are speaking English right now on the planet. And we are a lot more than the native speakers that are, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is an issue.
Well, the Americans has made a great effort to make their language to be the number one speaking language in the world, right? So at least for business, you need to know English. Wherever you go, if you are going even to Europe, Asia, Africa, of course, United States, you need to know English because it is impossible to learn every single language that we have in this world. It's impossible. So they have made a great deal of effort to make their language the number one business language in this world. So in any point, if you are a working guy, girl, whatever, you might need to learn English. You need to communicate with other people, especially in this huge and big world that everything is connected to the internet. There's the necessity of be able to communicate what you are thinking, what you are saying, and especially when it comes to work. What do you think about that?
What you used very interesting words, communicating, right? Because I know that many of my friends who are also fellow English teachers will see this show. I know because they're interested in doing things like this. And I know that the teacher in them will tell them, hey, what about your grammar and your pronunciation and things like that? And that is the whole thing, that there's a big array, a big variety of little details
Mm-hmm.
that actually become a barrier between us and success, right? So you don't have to be perfect. What you have to be is efficient, effective. You have to reach your goals, your because your goals, I mean, what is your goal as a learner? To get a better job, right? To go
Yeah.
out there and do, you know business with someone else, or make friends, or I don't know, meet a girl, I don't know, whatever you but it's not exactly to be perfect with grammar or to have the best pronunciation. And that all of these topics we will talk about in these sessions.
Well, the romantic ones will say that the Spanish is a romantic language and you don't need to speak any other language. I mean, you will be able to communicate and get any girl in love of you if you speak Spanish, you know? I, re-
Totally true.
I remember a commercial that I heard once in the States. I was in Salt Lake City and this was a Taco Bell commercial. And this was this little dog saying, I am a typical Mexican macho. And it was super.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the stereotypes. We will go further in other episode of this because we've been talking about that. It's really harsh with especially with Latin people, how they are how we've been perceived in the United States. Okay, but let's go back. Let me tell you a little bit about my student story going to all of these places to learn English, which is no, I mean, let me tell you
Hmm.
something. When I started to learn English, I mean, this was something not usual in Mexico. There were not many people speaking English, and this was something that we thought that might be useful when I was a worker and I work for a company. It might be needed. You didn't know that point. the globalization word was not a thing that moment. So I remember going to Inglés Individual, which was good. I mean, the groups when we were studying, it was small and not many people, so it was cool. But I was very young, so it was my first getting in touch with the English language. Then I went to Interlingua, and then that's when I really started to learn English. It was not at a school, not in college. It was in Interlingua. I took all the 10 elementary levels, and then what it was, 4 advanced levels. And the problem that I perceive in that moment of my life is that I had a good English, but it was not professional enough. So at that moment of time, I leave it there. I start working, whatever. But it came a time where I started to working with people from the States that I noticed that I was missing something. So I started to look for a place where I can learn like advanced English for so I can have the proficiency to speak with other people, especially in the States, and be able to communicate effectively. This is a very important thing, effectively. I I find really curious that I just finished my master's in sustainability, and the first class that we are taking is effective communication skills. Not a single class in the master was in English. We did not read any single book in English. Everything was in Spanish, and everything was already digested, so we can take it. I mean, learning because we learn, but nothing was in English. So this sustainability topic, which is a very important thing in the war, there's any vocabulary that we have learned during the masters, the 2 years of masters. So fortunately, at some point of seeking for where to learn a better English, to learn an advanced English, I found you, and we started taking these classes. And I know there's something that I was in the belief, like so many people, that actually Spanish was a harder language than English until I took an advanced class.
Mhm.
And then I noticed that English is not an easy language. The construction of the tenses and the paragraph and the way they think is completely different than the way we speak Spanish and we do text in Spanish. We don't use the same process of mind, and we are finding, and I see when I read emails from other people, that there's a big issue, especially when it comes to work. So what do you think about this? Because I think this is a big issue.
It is a big issue. And probably most of the people that are listening to us have gone through a process that's similar, if not very, very close to what you're describing. When we think of English as something we have to do, we don't really know where to start.
No.
And obviously, what we do as parents, we look for a place where our kids will, study their elementary school, their high school, their junior high, whatever, and that English is already used in there. And I can tell you there are very good schools and out there that include English, but there has to be something else. There has to be something else, and that's what I have found in my over 25 years doing this. Uh, and that thing that is missing most of the times is time, the time that you devote to practicing, because you're going to school, having English classes in elementary school, etc., is not enough. You need to devote a lot more time, and most of the times that's what happens, that people are not aware of that. Schools are not aware of that. Eh, and when you go to your postgraduate studies, and you want to specialize on anything, yeah, like you described it, all your classes are in Spanish, because it's really hard to find a professional that teaches at that level that masters English.
Yeah, it's
Me,
hard.
it's pretty hard. So you're gonna have a great lawyer teaching you law, or a great biologist teaching you, biology or chemistry or whatever, but they won't speak English to you because they're not at that level. They don't have that level of proficiency in the language.
It's really funny because I had been in meetings with lawyers that instead of saying Junction, which is in Spanish, what was the name exactly? it's like when the law is going to act against you, and you find a paper to back yourself, and so the law is don't going after you. And it is a junction. But I've been in so many meetings with lawyers that say, okay, you need to get an habeas corpus, and American people are like, what is this habeas corpus?
Yeah, so
And this is high pay Santa Fe lawyers that I mean they should have known the language at least of communicating to other people from other countries. So it is hard as a professional to fly in a place when you can learn actual English, advanced English, that you will be able to communicate with your clients, customers,
it is
whatever.
hard. It is very hard. It's very hard, and there are a few schools out there that do that. They're actually very expensive and not very successful though. It's like people are used to finding their ways while they're working, not before. And that's probably one of the problems that we have with education here in Mexico, that you are prepared for an ideal world that really does not exist. When you go out there, and let alone the language, if you're an architect or if you're an engineer, when you go actually out there looking for a job, and you finally find a place, you don't know what to do. No, you need to be retrained.
But forget about English, about your career also. I mean,
Exactly.
it is so hard that your first job you
Mm.
don't know a squash of about anything.
Yeah, so hopefully the idea is in these sessions, in these conversations that we'll have in the future, is to give people some tips about how to find their own ways to learn specialized language, to improve their pronunciation, to work over their vocabulary, maybe even doing exercises like this in order to have a purpose, no, to use
So
their language for a reason.
of course, so you know, this is my preparation for the C2 exam.
Right, right on, and that is uh, I think this exercise is interesting and very very important in the sense that it gives the whole idea of communication a new dimension, right? Where it has a purpose, it has a reason, and something that is true and valid for a lot of things is that you have to show it off.
Yeah,
Whatever you've gone through and whatever you've learned, you have to show it to the world,
it is.
and make it
Yeah,
useful.
it's important. It is important that you show off what you are learning, what you know, because at the end it takes time, it takes money, it takes a lot of things that you I might as well right now could be with my wife and my kids watching television instead of doing this or whatever, right? So every little thing that you do is magic, like police.
Right.
But it is important. Okay, let me explain a couple of things that we need to share with you, with whatever whoever is watching us right now. That we have a YouTube channel that is called Death Talks Mexico, but unfortunately, YouTube decided that I can't stream today. So we just for this occasion we needed to do it on my personal channel that is the Nayo 022, and for the rest of the or of our episodes we will do it on our Dead Talks YouTube channel. We will keep the witness in the channel so you can take a look afterwards. We will do shorts so of the most important parts of what we are talking right now, so you can take a look of it. And if you have questions at all, whatever, it doesn't matter how silly you think this might be, please let us know so we can answer on the next episode. Or if you have it right now, you can do it,
Hmm.
and I will see it on our chat feed right now.
Yeah, yes. And if you want to be a guest, sure, why not?
That, that's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's the other thing. If any of you feels in the need of come here and talk with us and share your
Ah,
and share,
debate. Because
debate,
yeah, it is true. Yeah, the thing is that we're always fighting for moving a step forward, and we're not saying. Let me tell you something. I need to tell you. I need you to know something. Leo knows a lot about everything. Okay, Leo, you can ask him. I this is one battle that I have every day with my classes. I'm talking about, I don't know, whatever you want, subject, verbs, objects, in indefinite pronouns, and he's like, oh yeah, like in this movie, yeah, and that extends like a lot. It's amazing when you have a student like that because he knows about the world like a lot. And so you will find in these sessions that we have our opinions, and the idea is not to impose our opinions, it's
Now,
just to express our opinions. We can be right, we can be wrong, it doesn't matter. But if you do have an opinion that goes against or goes with ours, feel free. Maybe you can come here and share it with us and with the audience, you know.
yeah,
That is one of the
let's
reasons I
establish some
call.
rules. We don't like polarization. We want an
No.
open debate of whatever you want to talk, because at the end, everybody has the right of his own opinion. I mean, please. It's not like if you are of a certain religious political ideas, we won't say anything. I mean, afterwards we might laugh a little bit of you, but don't be
Yeah, sure.
afraid. Don't be afraid of sharing. I
Yeah,
mean, at the end, what
exactly.
we want to create is a community of people that come here and talks of whatever topic you might like to talk. We don't care. We want to open a conversation with whatever is open to do a conversation, and stop doing this what is happening right now in Mexico, that either you are on one side or to the other side. Even if you are one on the other side that I don't like, I will hate you and I won't talk to you. No, we need to stop that kind of doing things. And the Mexican way now, right now, that we might say that it is that if you are part of something, I won't like you, and the other way around.
Yeah, and don't worry about your level of English.
Yeah,
If your level of English is higher than ours, fantastic. If it's lower than
better.
ours, fantastic. It's the same. You'll be super welcome, and this is a very good opportunity for all of those who are listening to just give it a try.
Yeah,
Because
whatever.
yeah,
It doesn't.
really,
It,
absolutely,
it doesn't matter. I mean, at the
yeah.
end, this is the way to of learning. Either you get school, or you will school to us. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I mean, I remember the first time that I went to the States, and I was super afraid, because I have never spoke English to nobody that is not my English professor at that time. And I remember that I say, "Oh my God! If and what about if I'm not able to communicate a thing, and they will understand me or not?" And once you are there and you start talking, and with your ugly and not good pronunciation, and the knowledge, the whatever knowledge you have, you start to noticing, while you are starting to do it more and more and more and more, you will eventually get better. Probably you won't be a native speaker with a great accent and the best language or vocabulary, but you eventually get better. And that will help you not only for your personal life, because you probably live like us in a small town in Toluca, where, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Eventually, your work will help you to advance, to make a better place, a better position in whatever you are doing. One of the most important, one of the stuff that I have learned here in Toluca, and one of the biggest problems is that I had I had a hard time finding an accountant who speaks English. Just non-existent. In Toluca, most of the college that have accounting schools, the people is not learning English. I mean, I have interviewed at least 50 to 100 accountants recently fresh come out from school, and any single one of them speak English. It is incredible. I mean, the reason that I got into Toluca was because I was speaking English, and they couldn't find a person here who does it. So, oh, ¿cómo ves? How you see, David, that?
Okay. No, totally, totally true. I actually, that's how I must say I studied accounting, and I would speak a little English, and then one of my jobs when somebody needed someone who spoke English, my horrible English. brought me high up. So that is the thing. That is I think the problem is not how good you speak English. The point is how you use it. And yeah, you're totally right. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of opportunities out there. So even if you want to, or if you can, if you have the ability to learn, you won't, because you don't have a chance to do it. No, nobody to do it with. No.
I had a comment right here that I want to comment. Dan Krat is saying that English is the best language in the world.
Yeah.
Well, I would say
Rock
something.
on.
I really like English, but I would say that I would much rather prefer talking Italian instead of English. I think that Italian is a very beautiful language and a very beautiful language to curse other people.
Fangu.
Stronzo di merda.
Yeah, totally true, totally true. However, there's something interesting about the beauty of a language. A language is beautiful or not. It's very subjective. It depends on a lot of on a lot of things like the culture, whether you like the people who speak it, or what it represents. However, I need to say something. When somebody tells me, English is great, English is amazing, I love that, because it's an attitude towards something you are doing. Maybe it's and I must say this. Maybe it's like eating vegetables. I was talking to my friend Susie. Yeah, maybe she's around there. I was talking to her earlier about eating vegetables and stuff. And you know what? The point about this kind of things is that it's only what you think of them. No, it's the barrier, the biggest obstacle in life is one that you yourself build up in front of you. So I'm telling you this because many of my students tell me, I hate English, I'm not good at it, I'm never going to learn English because I was not meant for it. God said, you know what, this guy is not he's going to do, he's going to be amazing at businesses, at a lot of things, but not English. And that is just a personal construct, or something that you, so when you change that attitude, and when you say, yeah, I embrace it, I love it, I think it's great, it's amazing, it changes for you, and it changes for the people around you. So I agree with you. Maybe if you look at it like globally, yeah, there's like different people would say Spanish is more beautiful than Italian or French or Ukrainian. God knows. But I think having that positive attitude towards something you have to do anyway, it's a good thing.
I,
It helps.
but I will say something that I think is even more important. That does doesn't matter regarding whatever language that you are speaking. The communication skill is the most important set of skill that you will need for the rest of
I
your life.
know.
If you don't have it, doesn't matter what language you are talking, or
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you are doing in life. Communication skill is the most important thing that you probably will need for the rest of your life. So speaking English, it could be a perfectly the first step of for you to develop in this set of skills for the rest of your life.
Yeah, this is very, very, what you're saying is very powerful because it's something that I face. One of my jobs is I'm a National Geographic consultant.
Yeah.
So I visit different schools, giving them workshops and stuff. And what I have found is that many teachers lack this ability. They do. They cannot communicate. There's really a barrier there. So when I see those teachers who cannot communicate in a natural way, I think of the students. Imagine if the teacher cannot communicate, how is the teacher going to help the students? So one big problem you pointed out is a very important thing, is that schools are not teaching us to communicate. You know,
No, no, no.
teachers tell you, for example, teachers will tell you, give a presentation, and this is your topic, and yeah. But they will never say, okay, how do you talk to an audience? How do you move your hands, your body language, the tone of voice, pronunciation, the molding of your words, a lot of different features that are never there.
Well,
Never there.
this is why it's so important to doing presentation at school, with whatever school work you are doing, is really important. I mean, it's the first step of talking to a bigger crowd. I mean, eventually at your work, you will have the need to talk to many people, probably, well, a couple of them to 100 or 200, depending on what kind of job you are doing in a company. I mean, if you are human resources, one day you will have to speak in front of all the people in the company. So
Totally,
you need
totally.
to develop these kind of skills, whether you like it or not.
Unfortunately, you can be very talented, but if you don't know how to communicate your talent, it dies
Ah,
there.
yeah,
It
yeah,
no one will know. No
yeah,
one will know, and there's no benefit for you. There's no benefit for anyone,
yeah,
right?
for
So
nobody.
yeah,
Yeah.
as a country, this is something we should be working on. As a parent, if you have kids, if you're working on your own progress, communication is a key ability to work on. Thought I totally agree with that. But
So,
what we do? I mean, it's not something you just buy in the market,
and
no.
of course, no, you have to develop through time. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, it is true that you come with some natural skills that are yours and you will be able to show it off, doesn't matter what, because it will be yours. But if you don't have a set a toolkit of skill communication, I mean, you will need to develop it, and it's really hard because some of us we just don't have it. We have to learn it through time. For example, for me, which was the way to finding these skills was through music. I mean, playing in front of a lot of people, losing the fear of being in front of so many people that after a while I started talking to a lot of different people. But if you don't have it, you need to find a way to develop these skills. I mean, one way could be the school, but if not, and if you are a parent, you need to figure out how to do it so your kids learn these skills.
Totally, totally. Yes, and this is very common. I find it everywhere. When I talk to a parent about kid not being able to speak English and all that, I realize that those kids are not struggling with the language. They're struggling with their abilities to communicate,
Yeah.
with how confident and how comfortable they are with themselves. So yeah, what you're saying is very powerful. It is of great importance that we work on all of those things that will allow us to be free, basically, to be free to speak our minds.
So help us a little bit. If I had a little kid and I want him to learn English, what I would do first?
I would.
Should I look for a bicultural college or school? I'm sorry. Should I look for a individual teacher for a private school? What should I do? Should I put a lot of English movies until one day he starts speaking English or whatever? What should I do?
Well, there is a lot. This is very well documented. There are a lot of studies, serious studies worldwide, because a language barrier is something that affects the economy of the world.
Yeah,
So there's studies on the skills for the 21st century, collaboration, critical thinking. Um, and language is one of those things that really a country requires its people to have. So you can do one of the many things that you mentioned. Maybe later on we'll have a chance to analyze them one by one, because I was telling you it's very well documented what works well and what doesn't work.
yeah.
And let me tell you something, a spoiler. Spending money is not the answer. Yes,
No.
throwing money at it, like paying for the most expensive school is not the ultimate answer to this. But what I would do if I wanted my kid to learn a language is I would work on my kid's self-image first.
Ah, yeah.
That is the very first thing. There is a very interesting study on how when we learn a second language, we reinvent ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay?
I,
So one of the biggest challenges is that when you're learning as another language, it's like you're a naked baby. You're scared, you're afraid, you're fragile, you're exposed. So that's the reason why it is so hard for you to talk, to start communicating. So many people call it like leaping, to jump to the other side when you can actually communicate the way you are communicating, right? Like
yeah.
free of all ties of all big, but you have to. It's a long way.
Let's put it in this way. You can ask your kids to do something that you won't do.
That is true.
I mean,
That is true.
you guys, your parents, you need to learn English. I mean, you can go back to your kid and tell him, "Oh, you need to get this chance. I did not have this chance of learning English, so you should take it now. You should learn also, so you will able to communicate with your kid in the same language. I mean, at least to talk. I like, for example, to talk with Charlie, my youngest kid, a lot about American references that we are watching at the movies. He's tired of me. I mean, he hates me because I'm constantly saying, and you know this that this
Okay.
mean this and this mean this and this mean this. He say, okay, I know. Stop, stop saying that things. But this is the way that eventually they will feel connected, and they will feel comfortable with all these sort of things. With Charlie, for example, we don't watch TV shows on Spanish. Everything has to be in English, even if he wants to have subtitles on it, it has to be in English because the kids needs to feel comfortable with the language. If not, it will be really hard eventually to feel comfortable around it, to hear it, to speak it, or whatever. If they can read it, it's even better.
True. But you know what happens that most of the times parents don't have the time or the knowledge or the guidance on how to do it, you know?
Well, let's give them a guidance. What are the things
Yeah.
for the next episode? We will write 10 important things to do in order to your kid learning English. I mean, what are 10 different top 10 stuff that you can work on so your kid can learn English. Eventually, if you can learn English, it's even better, but at least that will help you to get your kids into the learning process of English.
10 easy things.
Then, of course, nothing
10
complicated. I mean,
doable. Yeah, it's like send them
you will say,
to
hey, I
London
recommend
for a year.
recommend the Noam Chomsky book
No,
that your
no,
8-year-old kid
yeah,
should read in order to learn
no,
in English.
not really. No, no, yeah, 10 easy, doable things that any parent should do with kids any age, okay? Any age.
Yeah,
We're
I mean,
talking about
if it if it
toddlers,
if this can be done
teenagers.
in family, it's even better.
That's totally, because it's a culture. It is culture, and that's what helps you uh, jump the fence.
Okay, let's start wrapping up our first episode. We don't want to
Well,
go too much time because the idea is that we don't waste all of our ideas in the first episode. In other things Pumas is playing. If anyone can tell
ah,
me how the score is right
they're
now,
doing.
how they are going, how they are doing against Tigres, it would be great. It's okay, but it doesn't matter. Let's start wrapping up this episode. So, well, guys, as you heard already, you are helping me to get through my certification. My C2 certification is the most important thing of this podcast. The second is to share with us what we've been talking in our classes because we've been touching base on so many topics in so many just for making an example out of it, that today in the morning we were talking that, for example, Americans right now they speak a very horrible English, and it will sound curious, but the people that are studying English in other countries are speaking better English than Americans. But exactly the same thing is happening in Mexico. People that is learning Spanish in other countries speaks a better Spanish than we do. And this is because we are putting aside of learning proper languages, proper writing, proper speaking. I mean, you can hear people that out of every 3 words that they
I
say, at
know.
least one is a swearing or a bad word,
Yeah,
whatever.
no, no, and let me interject here that many of my colleagues that are teachers will have right now a long list of mistakes that you and I have been making in this
Yeah,
process. But but I could do the same with their Spanish.
but that's cool. I mean,
Right?
if
No,
you are
we're
doing a list of
functional.
my mistakes, please send it to me so I can be better. Please.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're listening, if you're watching this, and you can collaborate with that, be would be amazed.
Whatever you want
Yeah.
to collaborate with us, we are open to. except talking about religion and politics.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
We don't we don't do that. That's very
No,
harsh.
we're decent.
We are decent people. We are
Yeah,
people of good.
yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for surviving this first episode.
If
Uh,
any of you watch all the whole thing from the start to the end, let me know so I can send you a gift.
yeah. And thanks a lot for collaborating with us. If you're listening to us right now, if you're listening to us on a recorded a version of this show. Thanks a lot for your time, your attention, lending us your ears. And if you have any ideas, if you want to
Yes,
collaborate, you
please
want to
share.
participate,
If you want to
let us
collaborate to be
know.
part of
Let us
this
know.
thing,
I
just let us know.
actually, let me tell you, I have a friend. Her name is Susie Mesa. She's somewhere there. I know she's listening to us, and she's amazing. She's well. I'll invite her. Okay, I'll invite her.
What she does for living? Tell me.
Yeah, she's in the performing arts,
Oh,
in
that's
theater.
great.
Oh yeah, no, amazing, amazing.
Let's
So
let's
yeah,
talk to her. Hey,
yeah,
send us a little list of topics and what you are doing so I can do an interview and let's
great.
talk with her. Yes, and whoever
Uh,
wants to be part of this, please let us know. I mean, we want to create a community. We are not here for any. We are not here for money. We are here just for creating a community of people that want to talk and share with us. And at the end, if this helps us to be a better person or to help us to be a little better at English, that would be great.
yeah, right on. Thanks a lot, Leo. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, David. It's been great these past 2 months of sharing every single day in the morning, even if we are sleeping or we are cold. That it's been great. I mean, I hope that we can share with you the crazy amount of topics that we've been talking about these past 2 months because it's been crazy how much thought we've been having and how much many different stuff that are very interesting. I mean, for some of you, probably not for all of you, but I hope that this helped you in any way. In any way, I mean, it doesn't matter. Just for sitting here a little bit and hear two old guys saying stupid things.
Yeah, and even if it gives you like a reason to answer back and say, "Hey, you guys are wrong," or whatever. But that be nice enough, nice enough for you to be here and share with us what you think. It'd be beautiful.
Yes, I agree. Okay,